Welcome everyone to the Judiciary Committee, a series of hearings and decision makings today. My name is Carl Rhodes. I'm chair of the committee. This Zoom meeting and YouTube live stream event will include 4 agendas: the 9:29 decision making agenda, the 9:30 decision making agenda, and then we have 2 joint hearings at 10, one with Agriculture and the Environment Committee and the other with Human Services. The other members of the Judiciary Committee are Vice Chair Keokalole, Senators Ocasio, Gabbard, Lee, Kim, and Favela. As noted, this hearing is being streamed live on YouTube. You can find links to viewing options for all Senate hearings and meetings on the live and on-demand video page of the legislature's website. If you're interested in seeing the written testimony, you can go to the legislature's website, capital.hawaii.gov. Again, that's capital.hawaii.gov, capital with an O. In the unlikely event that we have to again abruptly, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say again. Sorry for the technical difficulties going. If we have a major crash, which this wasn't, we will reconvene on Thursday on the 17th of February at 9:25 via video conference, and we'll post a notice. But that's only if everything goes bad and we can't restore it. Okay, for these first 2 decision-making agendas, there won't be any live testimony, so I won't bother to go through the rules for that now. I think we can just go straight into the decision making on the 9:29. Let's see, we do have quorum. So the first measure up is one that we deferred before. It's SB 2089. This is proposing an amendment to Article 1, Section 25 of the Constitution regarding continuing course of conduct, continuous sexual assault involving minors less than 16. The current law is there is a constitutional provision on continuous sexual assault of a minor who's less than 14. This would raise that to 16. Recommendation here, we've been in discussions with the prosecutor's office. What we're going to do basically is just raise the number to 16. What that means in terms of the amendments to this bill is we'll delete the language dealing with continuous abuse both from the amendment itself and the question, and we'll leave, among other things, the language authorizing the legislature to define continuous sex assault on a minor under 16. As I mentioned before, currently the Constitution says 14, and we'll conform the preamble to those changes. Questions or concerns on 2089? If not, Vice Chair for the vote.
Members voting on SB 2089, the chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair Rhodes?
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Ocasio?
Aye.
Senator Gabbard?
Aye.
Senator Kim?
Aye.
Senator Lee?
Aye.
Senator Favela?
Aye.
Chair recommendation adopted.
Thank you very much. That I will adjourn the 9:29 agenda. Okay, going into the 9:30 agenda. This is also a decision-making only agenda, so no live testimony. First up on this agenda is SB 2180. Requires the governor to nominate members for reappointment. This is for the Board of Education, sorry. Yes, requires the governor to nominate members for reappointment at least 150 days before the expiration of the member's term. Requires the Senate to consider the confirmation of the member at least 60 days before the member's term expires. Clarifies that holdover members shall not serve as members of the Board of Education beyond the end of the first regular session of the legislature following the expiration of the member's term. The recommendation here is there's a couple of issues still outstanding on the bill, I would say, but pretty squarely in the Kuleana of the education chairs. So I'm going to just suggest that we move it forward with a bad date, July 30, 2075. So just a defective date. Questions, concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members, SB 2180, passing with amendments, noting the presence of all members of the committee. Are there any reservations or no votes? Seeing none, Chair, recommendation adopted.
Thank you very much. Next up is SB 2755. This requires the Board of Land and Natural Resources to approve all revoked, limited, condemned, removed, or shortened public land leases or revocable permits. Similar to the last bill, there are some testimony raised some issues that I think probably need to be resolved, but again, they're pretty squarely in the Waterland Chair's Kuleana. So recommendation here is just to put the bad date on it and move it forward on July 30, 2075. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members voting on SB 2755, the recommendation is to pass with amendments. Are there any no votes or reservations?
No vote.
So noted. Senator Ocasio, I didn't hear you.
Reservations.
Reservations, so noted. Okay, Chair, one no vote for Senator Favela. All other members vote aye. Recommendation adopted.
Okay, thank you. Next up is we need can we have a short recess, about 30 seconds worth? Austin, recess. Okay, coming back out of recess to continue on the 9:30 agenda. So first, next up is SB 2804. For purposes of Department of Health authority to adopt rules concerning public health and safety, defines pool to mean a watertight artificial structure containing a body of water that does not exchange water with any other body of water, either naturally or mechanically. So this is a bill that came out of health. My intention was to pass with the technical amendments, but we don't have any testimony. So normal rule would be to just defer it, but it's not a very controversial bill, so I don't know.
Well, Chair, are we in a breakout room or are we all live?
No, we're live.
I think we should take a recess.
All right, let's go ahead and recess. Recess subject to call of the chair, and shouldn't be very long. We're in recess. Okay, back out of recess for the Judiciary Committee hearing on our 9:30 agenda. Next up is SB 2804. This is the one on defining a pool. There was no testimony on this, so I'm going to defer it indefinitely, but the intention is to repost and try to get at least a couple pieces of testimonies. I don't have any substantive issues with the bill, and but I have been trying to not move things forward where no one is interested at all. So it's deferred indefinitely, but we'll go ahead and repost soon. All right, moving on to SB 2030. This requires a prescriber to offer a prescription of certain drugs under certain circumstances related to opioid overdoses. Requires a prescriber to offer patient education under certain circumstances related to opioid overdoses. This is a naloxone bill. Recommendation here, well, this came out of Health Committee. Senator Kaloli, there were two questions that had come up that are pretty squarely in your Kuleana. The recommendation from the Board of Pharmacists was to delete the phrase sedative, hypnotic drug, and gabapentin because they aren't opioids and they don't really fit into that definition. So if you're okay with that change, I would do that. I would just note there's another issue about that the Board of Pharmacy also raised about the willingness of pharmacists to be trained on naloxone. And I don't know what the answer is, so I'll just note it in the committee report and we'll move it on, and health chairs can figure out what they want to do. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you.
Okay, so that will be the amendment. We'll delete the phrase per the pharmacy board. Page 5, lines 14 and 15, we'll delete the phrases a sedative, hypnotic drug, and gabapentin, and we'll put in the committee report that there still is a question about pharmacist training for naloxone prescription. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Oho Kalole.
Members voting on SB 2030 SD1, the recommendation is to pass with amendments. Noting again the presence of all members of the committee, are there any reservations? Any no votes? Seeing none, Chair, all members vote aye. Recommendation adopted.
Thank you. Next up, members, is SB 2277. This prohibits contractors from offering to pay or rebate or promising to pay or rebate an insured's property or casualty insurance deductible. This is the so-called storm chaser spill, where people come around and offer to fix your house for free and to pay the deductible. Again, there are some issues that are raised in testimony, and again, I think they're all consumer protection issues that I'm reluctant to go into as Judiciary Chair. So the recommendation is to put a bad date on it, July 30, 2075, and go ahead and move it forward. Questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members, this is SB 2277 SD1, passing with amendments. Noting again the presence of all members of the committee, are there any reservations or no votes? Seeing none, Chair, recommendation adopted.
Okay, thank you. That concludes the 9:30 agenda. Members and the public, we have 2 10 o'clock agendas, so we have 14 minutes until that starts. So we'll see you in 14 minutes. Thank you for being here. Okay, good morning again, everyone. Welcome to the Joint Judiciary and Agriculture and the Environment Committee, our 10 o'clock agenda. For those of you who are here for the 10 o'clock agenda joint with the Human Services Committee, we're going to do this 10 o'clock agenda first with AEN, and then as soon as possible thereafter, we'll do the joint with Human Services. So my name is Carl Rhodes. I'm chair of the Judiciary Committee. Chair of the Ag and Environment Committee is also on the Judiciary Committee. Senator Gabbard, also on our committee, are Vice Chair Keo Kalole, Senators Ocasio, Lee, Kim, and Favela. And Senator Gabbard, I'll turn it over to you for introductions if you want.
Yes, as chair of the AEN committee, we also have my vice chair, Senator Nishihara, Senator Favela, and Senator Ocasio, and Senator Rhodes.
Thank you. So this Zoom meeting and YouTube live stream event will include just this one agenda, the 10 a.m. With AEN, and as I noted, it will be streamed live on YouTube. You can find links to viewing options for all Senate hearings and meetings on the live and on-demand video page of the legislature's website. If you're interested in seeing the written testimony, you can go to the legislature's website, capitol.hawaii.gov, capital with an O. If we do have a major technical problem, we'll reconvene at Thursday, February 17 at 9:25 via video conference and a public notice will go. For the testifiers, your audio will be muted and video disabled until it's your turn to testify. And I think we do have a 2-minute time limit, yes, for the joint hearing. 2-minute time limit on oral testimony, and there's a clock so you can watch when your time's about to expire. And I believe that's it. So we can go ahead and move on to the only item on the agenda, which is SB 2618. This establishes and funds an environmental investigative hotline pilot project for the Department of the Attorney General Investigations Division that will implement and manage an investigative hotline for Molokai residents to report environmental concerns. And it'll have one full-time investigator on the island of the Molokai station there. Okay, first up on SB 2618 is David Williams, Deputy Attorney General.
And good morning, Chair Rhodes and Chair Gabbard, members of the respective committees. As Chair Rhodes said, I am Deputy Attorney General David Williams, and as detailed more in our written testimony, I will touch on the major points why our department is respectfully opposing this bill. First, Maui Police, they have a full-time presence already on Molokai, at Molokai Police Station. Second, DLNR's dog care officers, they have a full-time presence already on Molokai. They already field calls from an existing hotline. Third, we've had very, very few AG investigation cases almost in the last 8 years. Fourth, the cost of setting up a permanent AG investigator on the island, where there are already sister law enforcement agencies there who can respond quickly, gather, preserve, and share evidence as needed. And lastly, Senate Bill 3139 and its companion House Bill 2171, seeking to establish a statewide law enforcement department, is supposed to include an investigative presence in all counties that could address the issues raised in the bill. And also, if that passes, pardon me, if that passes, it could affect any law enforcement special agent on Molokai based on the restructuring as a result of that bill. So for those reasons, we respectfully oppose, and it's more of a detailed in a written testimony, and I am available for your questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Next is Leimana Damate for Hawaii State Ahamoku.
Thank you.
Yeah, good morning.
And members of the committee.
Something to either hold the mic closer or turn it up, or
How's
yeah,
that? That better?
that's a little better. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to testify on behalf of the Molokai Kupuna Council on this measure. We stand in strong support of this measure, and as we can see from my written testimony, we have suggested amendments that would tie and we believe would strengthen this measure in connecting it stronger to the Native Hawaiian and the general communities of Molokai. We stand on our written testimony of support, and I'm available for questions if needed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Craig Harai, Director, Department of Public and Finance, with comments, and Alice L. Lee in support. That's all the testimony we have on SB 2618. Members, any questions? For Ms. Damate, again, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you, but why do you think this is necessary? Are there crimes on Molokai that are not being investigated in a timely manner?
According to the people, there are, and these crimes are generated in the ocean as well as on land, and we're talking about hunting issues on the ocean. We're talking about the seals, of course, but also that there are areas where others come into specific Ahupua'a. And as you know, Molokai is pretty much still practicing Native Hawaiian cultural practices on all the 5 different moku of the island. So if there is something going on one far end of the island, by the time it is actually related to the powers that may be, the LNR or the county, it's usually too late. And that is why we have asked that the amendment.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Members, any other questions? Okay, if not, your discretion, Chair Gabbard, do you want to go into a breakout room, or you're okay? All right, well, so my recommendation, so this isn't the first time this issue has come up of neighbor island members introducing bills asking for quicker enforcement and having a permanent presence on the neighbor islands. So my recommendation is to go ahead and move it forward. I think we just put a bad date on it. I do have questions about whether it actually makes sense to put a full-time Attorney General's agent on an island that has a population of 7,000 people, but it's pretty clear that there are crimes that are reported but never responded to. So I think the structure to deal with those situations is already in place, but they're not getting dealt with. So I'd like to keep the bill alive and hopefully encourage the law enforcement agencies that are supposed to be doing this sort of thing to coordinate with each other and start responding quicker. But for the moment, I'd like to keep the bill alive. So my recommendation is to pass it with a bad date. Questions or concerns? Are you okay with that, Senator Gabbard? Okay. Other questions or concerns? If not, Senator Keoli, today I can't pronounce your name. Keoho Kalole for the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Members voting on SB 2618, the recommendation is to pass this measure with amendments. Chair Rhodes.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Ocasio.
Aye.
Senator Gabbard.
Aye.
Senator Kim.
Aye.
Senator Lee.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Recommendation adopted.
Thank you,
Same
members.
recommendation for AEN. Chair votes aye. Any discussion, members? Chair votes aye. Vice Chair.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Ocasio.
Aye.
Senator Rhodes.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Motion's adopted.
Thank you, members.
Thank you, members of both committees. That concludes our business for the joint Judiciary Committee and Agriculture and Environment. So that agenda is adjourned. Okay, JDC members, we do have another hearing joint with Human Services. So as soon as they get here, there's Chair Joyce Sanborn Ventura right now, and both the bills on this agenda are hers. So I will turn it over to her.
Hey, thank you very much. Calling the hearing, the joint hearing of Human Services and Judiciary, 10 o'clock calendar. I will not continue I am continuing the prior comments by Judiciary Chair about this hearing being streamed live on YouTube, so I won't repeat it. I request witnesses to testify, to be able to rest on their written testimony. Otherwise, please just give us highlights, and you are limited to 2 minutes. First up, SB 2458 relating to legal services for low-income immigrants. Appropriate funds to the judiciary to contract with nonprofit organizations to provide legal counsel and assistance to low-income immigrants. First up, we have the public defender, Lee Hayakawa, in support. Lee, are you present?
Not present, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Next one, we have Hawaii Friends of Civil Rights, Patricia McManaman, in support. Is Patricia, I see her. We need to unmute you. Thank you. Please proceed.
We stand in strong support of our testimony and encourage you to support legal services for some 20% of our population, many of whom are indigent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Hawaii Coalition for Immigrant Rights, Lisa Gill and Catherine Chen. In support, are they available? I see Lisa Gill.
Aloha, Senator Liza Ryan Gill, co-chair of the Hawaii Coalition for Immigrant Rights, representing more than 25 immigrant serving organizations across the state. We stand in strong support of this bill. Just to illustrate this, right now, if you are in immigration court, the state is required to hand you a paper that has all the pro bono and low bono services for legal representation. Right now, that sheet is blank. Because we do not have any services that can be provided to people. It's extremely limited. So this is something, this is a miscarriage of justice, and we need to ensure that immigrants have access to an attorney. Otherwise, you have children who are actually responsible for representing themselves against an ICE attorney. Mahalo for your time.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Gill. Next, we have Amy Agbayani in support, and I see Ms. Agbayani present.
Thank you very much, Chair San Buenaventura and Chair Rhodes. I strongly support this bill and thank you for hearing it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, no one else having registered to testify online. Are there anybody online wishing to testify on SB 2458? Okay, seeing none, those who have provided written testimony are Department of Human Services Director Betts and Support, Hawaii Office of Community Services, Giovanni Domingo de la Cruz in support, Budget and Finance providing comments, Director Craig Hurai, Legal Clinic in support, Interagency Council in support, Medical Legal Partnership for Children in Hawaii in support, Americans for Democratic Action in support, Pacific Gateway Center in support, Tarina Wong of Pacific Gateway Center in support, Thaddeus Pham in support, Samuel Mitchell in support, John Egan in support, Reza Dalopin in support, and Gerard Silva in opposition. Members, any questions of those who testified? I see Senator Misalucha, please proceed.
Hi, I'm not sure who's able to respond to this because the director of BNF actually had a comment about the term low income as applicable to this bill, and he said it's not well defined. So can anyone respond to that to provide some clarity? How are we, maybe Manang Amy?
Okay, thank you very much, Senator. We would, for example, the legal clinic uses federal poverty definitions, and we also would have actually even stricter guidelines to make sure that they are low income. And DSSH and every other state agency usually use the federal poverty guidelines. So we would be similar. And so I think and find out that the other state agencies do have definitions and it would be applied here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, senators? Okay, Senator Rhodes.
Yeah, I had a question. Thanks, Chair. I think for Ms. McManaman, the dollar amount is blank. Do you have a suggestion on what the dollar amount should be?
Senator Rhodes, I could answer that.
I think she's, hang on just a second, Doctor. I think she's trying, but it's muted. I'll ask you next. How's it?
I would suggest at least $250,000. It's very expensive to recruit attorneys and the support staff that's needed, and then to accommodate for the space, the legal malpractice insurance, et cetera. And although, you know, I think most attorneys, quite frankly, who are working in this field are already taking a substantial cut in pay as opposed to what they would receive if they were in private practice. It really is an act of public service. But there is just such an acute need. I can't say if in fact this has happened in the Honolulu court, but we know across the country, unrepresented minor children or minor children in deportation proceedings are compelled to represent themselves. And there are just too many people who have legitimate bona fide remedies. And if they had an attorney, they would be able to succeed in immigration proceedings. You know, and just in addition, you know, legal services for immigrants just aren't about deportation. It's about family reunification. It's about allowing a married partner to remain in the United States, but they're unfamiliar with the forms. They're afraid, and they just need good advice and good assistance. It's helping people to naturalize and or advising them not to naturalize if they're not eligible. So there's a broad variety of services that immigration attorneys, low income, provide to the community.
Okay, thank you very much. If with the the other
Amy
chairs,
Agbayani?
if you don't
Yes.
mind opining on this as well, Dr. Agbayani, that would be great. Thank you.
I agree with Pat McManaman. We believe 250,000 would be very helpful. As you know, we would also like to service every island, and they have very little resources. So we would feel that using all the expenses, including very complex cases, would take resources. So we'd be very grateful if nonprofits could compete to apply for these funds.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair. Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, can we move on, Chair Rhodes, or do you want to ask your members specifically?
I don't see any other questions, so go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Next up, SB 2638, relating to commercial sexual exploitation of children, requires the Department of Attorney General to provide annual reports to legislator on specified data pertaining to the commercial sexual exploitation of children appropriates money. First up, we have Attorney General for Farshad Talebi providing comments. I see Mr. Talebi, please proceed.
Morning, Chair and Chair Rhodes, Vice Chairs, and members of the committee. I'm Deputy Attorney General and State Human Trafficking Coordinator Farshad Talebi. Department does have some concerns with the current language and requirements in the bill, and we submitted testimony with some proposals. I just wanted to note that the companion bill, HB 1777, did make some changes based on our similar comments. So thank you for considering our comments, and I'm here for any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, no one else having registered to testify on Zoom. Is there anyone online who wishes to testify on SB 2638? Okay, seeing none, those who have provided written testimony are Department of Human Services providing comments, Craig Hirai, Department of Budget and Finance providing comments, Chris Cofield, Imua Alliance in support, Judith Clark, Hawaii Youth Services Network in support, Sex Abuse Treatment Center, Lynn Costales Matsuoka in support, Samuel Mitchell in support, Dara Carlin in support. Members, any questions of Farshad Talebi? If not, I do. Okay, Mr. Talebi, so last session, didn't the Attorney General have a similar bill requiring annual reports? And if so, how different is this bill compared to the last one?
So the last bill, it also codified my position and the program, and then had annual reports. So it was a little bit, a little more in depth, and then it also addressed some additional changes to the Child Justice Center. And so that ended up being deferred. I think there are portions of that in another bill codifying my position and the program, along with the requirement for the annual report. So I think this one seems, from my recollection, this one is more specific in terms of requiring other agencies and stakeholders to provide specific information. The other one, I believe, was less about, it was more broad, not just data, but also included like recommendations and some other things to include. And this one's very specific, just I think to jumpstart the data collection and sharing, and then provide that in a report.
Okay, so Mr. Talebi, have you resubmitted that bill as an administration bill that we could be looking at later on? Because I don't remember seeing it.
No, I don't have any administration bills this session related to trafficking.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions, members? Okay, seeing none, can we recess for decision making? Okay, recess. Recalling the joint hearing on HMS and JDC for decision-making, 10 o'clock calendar. For SB 2458, Chair of HMS's recommendation is we pass it with amendments. We will insert $250,000 in the blank appropriation. We will add in a defect date and also add in a section defining what low income is to meet those of federal guidelines. Any comments, questions, concerns? Okay, seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote. Chair votes aye.
We're voting on the chair's recommendation to pass Senate Bill 2458 for the Committee on Human Services to pass with amendments. Chair Sandra Ventura.
Aye.
Aye. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Ocasio.
Aye.
Do I
Aye.
see? Let's
Aye.
see. Do I need to? There you go. Okay, Senator Misa Lucha.
Aye.
Now, do I need to see that? See you to? I'm sorry about that. Okay, and Senator Favela.
Aye.
Recommendation is adopted.
Same recommendation for JDC. Any questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
Members, same recommendation for JDC SB 2458. Noting the presence of all members of the Judiciary Committee, are there any reservations or no votes? Seeing none, Chair, recommendation adopted.
Thank you.
Yeah. So for SB 2638, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. We're going to accept AG amendments, Department of Attorney General's requested amendments to basically replace specified data with available data, to amend lines 19 to 21 to read available data from entities that collect and are willing to provide data pertaining to the commercial sexual exploitation of children to the department that covers the immediately preceding fiscal year. If available to the department, the data in the report should include the following, and add in a subsection that makes it clear that entities are encouraged but not required to collect the specified data. And we're also going to accept the Youth Services Network's requested amendment to require posting of the report on the Attorney General's website. Other than that, there's a blank appropriation on there, so there is no need to do a defect date at this time. Any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
We're voting on the recommendation to pass Senate Bill 2638 with amendments. For the committee, members of the Committee of Human Services, are there any reservations or objections to the recommendation? Hearing none, I'll cast an aye vote for all Human Service Committee members present. Recommendation is adopted.
For JDC members, same recommendation, SB 2638 with amendments. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Keokulole.
Members, passing with amendments, noting the presence of all members of the committee, are there any reservations or no votes? Seeing none, Chair, recommendation adopted.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, folks, and we are adjourned.